Good morning, distinguished guests, learned councils, industry titans, and esteemed delegates. A very warm welcome to the third International Annual Conference on Construction Law, Constructing Legal Foundations 2006, Reforming Construction Disputes and Contract Delivery in India. Today, we gather some of the finest minds bridging the world of engineering, law, infrastructure, and dispute resolution to tackle the complex and legal mechanisms required to resolve conflicts, improve efficiency, and protect massive investments in infrastructure. To unpack this disconnect between what the industry needs and what universities produce, we begin with our first session, which is the Fire Chat, which is titled Bridging the Gap, What Industry Wants from Academia and Vice Versa. To guide this essential conversation, it is my honor to introduce our moderator for this session, Advocate Girish HR. Sir is a distinguished industry leader with over 34 years of experience across construction, infrastructure, and corporate sectors in India and Middle East. Sir stands out as a rare professional, combining top-tier expertise in engineering, law, management. Sir is also an alumnus of IIM Bangalore and Nalsa University. Sir has also specialized in techno-legal management, ADR, arbitration, and strategic corporate growth, and currently serves as the CEO and MD of Girish Ventures. We welcome you, sir. Joining Sir on stage to provide their profound insights, please welcome our first panelist, Dr. Murali Jagannathan, Assistant Professor at IIT Madras, who specializes deeply in construction contracts, claims management, and dispute resolution. He brings rich academic and corporate training experience from NICMARC and L&T Institute of Project Management, alongside hands-on industry expertise in business development and handling claims at L&T Construction. Our next extreme panelist, who would be joining us online, is Dr. G.D. Kumar, sir. Sir is an accomplished techno-legal expert with 30 years of interdisciplinary experience, bridging the gap between civil engineering and construction law. Holding a doctorate in civil engineering alongside a postgraduate diploma in construction law and arbitration, he seamlessly combines deep technical field proficiency in infrastructure development with a robust legal acumen in contract administration, risk management, and dispute resolution. We welcome you, sir. Our next panelist would be Lieutenant Colonel Ashish Sharma, a seasoned contracts and infrastructure professional with over 20 years of experience in the Indian Army. He specializes in contract management, dispute resolution, and EPC project delivery. As head contract management and dispute resolution, Sir has managed high-value contract portfolios, handled complex arbitration and claims matters, and leading strategic infrastructure project. Sir is also an impaneled trainer in contract and arbitration law, bridging together practical project experience and commercial expertise. Gentlemen, the stage is yours to lead us through this critical opening discussion.
So, Dr. Murli, my question to you is that is this normal perception that we have that academia and industry perhaps are like the tracks which never meet but keep going together? If so, what do you think should be the way forward so that we always believe today is the world of collaboration and each one requires the other? We cannot do away without academia interfacing with the industry because industry has got its hands full fighting everyday fires like in all projects, and therefore our bandwidth is very limited with respect to doing a deep dive onto the analytics of a particular cause of action. So from that perspective, I would like you to share a few thoughts about what you see going forward and what you think has been the bane so far.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much. Thank you, Venkat sir, for calling me here, and thank you for setting the tone. So I would like to take this question in two parts. So like the first thing I would like to say is from the academic point of view. So if you ask me this question, whether there is a gap and is this gap widening or are we coming closer in terms of industry and academia collaboration, I think I would say that the gap is lessening. It's coming down, and compared to what it was, say, probably 5-10 years ago to what it is right now, both industry and academia have realized that the support from each other is required. One very good example for this is this AI revolution that we are trying to see, the kind of the models, GPT models, the large language models which have been developed were started as a research project. And now it is probably being used in our daily lives by most of us, right? So academia is also not spared from it, right? We are also using all these LLMs and GPTs for all our, in most of our works that we are doing. Of course, we'll have to ensure that what we use it sensibly and we use it carefully. But yes, all these things that have actually started as a research project has now come to practical application. So we have seen that there is definitely a collaboration that's happening, and it is happening even more in the present days. So specifically talking about academics, I personally am seeing a lot of involvement of industry into day-to-day academics, right? So even at IIT Madras, if you take, earlier, if it was industry involvement, it used to be only in the master's courses, PG courses, postgraduate courses. But of late, I've been seeing the involvement of industry even for teaching in the undergraduate courses. So the government's push to include professors of practice as a part of the academic teaching faculty, I think that's made a huge difference in the way we connect with the students. See, all having said and done, even if I speak for hours in the class, if there is a person from the industry who comes and says the same thing, the students approve it, telling that yes, what our faculty is telling in the class, yes, really makes sense, because they've got an industry blessing on that, right? So that is something that's getting even more prominent these days with the industry getting involved. So one small example that I would like to give is from IIT Madras point of view is that at our BTech level, nowadays, from the last 2 years, the way we deliver BTech courses has completely changed. Earlier, if you all know, many of you might be here from civil engineering background, or even say other core engineering backgrounds. We used to have 4 years of civil engineering courses, which used to be structural engineering 1, structural engineering 2, structural design, water resources, highway 1, highway 2, transportation. So we have now gone away with that kind of a system, and what we are doing right. Of course, there was a lot of debate on whether it's good or bad and things like that, but somehow we have now evolved into a new kind of curriculum where the core technical subjects are only introduced to the students in the first 2 years. And the next 2 years, they are allowed to take up the courses where they want to specialize, where they want to see themselves after completion of the graduation. So that way, we have right now introduced a course called construction engineering. So which is a little bit of management as well as engineering focused from the point of view of construction projects and from the practical side point of view. So that is where we have started involving people from the industry. We are involving practicing architects. We are involving practicing engineers who come to the class and talk to the students. So this way I would say that in terms of academics, the gap is less, it's becoming lesser and lesser day by day, and that's a good thing. Of course, some homework has to be done here. It's not that it's not a straightforward task, because before an industry expert comes and speaks in the class, there is a need for the academic person and the industry expert to discuss and make sure that there is a coherent delivery that is happening. Otherwise, it becomes a problem. Again, from the research point of view, yes, we as academicians, we are very much dependent on the industry, because at least in construction management research that I am involved in, without data, we are nothing. We can just keep talking, but without data, there's nothing going to happen, and data comes from the industry. So collaboration is something that's inevitable. It's improving day by day, and that's good, but it needs to be channelized in the right direction. I think it will happen over time.
I think, Dr. Murli, we'll come to the data sharing a little short while from now.
Right.
But I fully agree with you. But I would like to also make it clear to you that, of course, you come from a very elite institution. And in fact, I have quite a few colleagues who are well reputed across the country and abroad, like Dr. Manu Santanam, Dr. Gattu and all. And when we normally chat, they say that our academic engagement is perhaps about 20-25%, with a balance being that of research and the industry.
Right.
And here I would like to quickly go back for minutes to my days at IIM. And when people join IIM to do their masters in business administration, one of the most looked forward subjects, at least at that point of time, was marketing. Though we get to read a lot about corporate strategy and all the stuff. And the professor who taught us, or rather the first class he came for, was a bit disappointing. We went to the dean and requested, sir, we were so very excited and looking forward to hear this, but we found that a little bit of a dance quip. And the dean was really, his rage was such that he said, what do you think we do here? He said, we also teach. We not only teach. And he is one of the best profs who has got the top ratings in the industry engagement. That opened up our eyes to what these institutions are so that they can be called elite institutions, that they engage with the industry and keep themselves abreast. But also, let me tell you a very sad part, Dr. Murli. I request you to be speaking on behalf of that 95% of the other academia,
Right.
other from IITs, IIScs, National Institute of Technology and things like that, because that is where the core of our human resource for construction and techno-legal domain comes from.
Right.
And that is where the core of the problem is, where we start having these jargons like, are they employable, are they skill updated and things like that. While doing so, let me also tell you that one of the largest construction companies in India, do you know who they are? Any show of hands? I will just give a hint. They are from the government and they are from the defense. And MES, Military Engineering Service, are the largest construction company, if I can use the jargon for the moment. And they are perhaps that entity who take on the most challenging projects ever imaginable on the surface of the earth, below the earth, and above the earth also. That is what they do. And the moment all of us who are from the construction domain, we talk of challenging projects, and more so here for the crowd, since we also come from the techno-legal domain, the very first thing that comes to us is the contracts. Because for us, a contract is what a radar is to a pilot. A contract document is what a radar is to a pilot. Without the radar, without the navigation, you cannot fly any mission. That is exactly what a contract document is. And way back, in fact, in some good construction companies, the very first thing a professional will lay his hand on is the contract document to guide him through the nuances of that particular project. And therefore, the inquisitiveness that I have with all of you is that at such a large entity, I would require Lieutenant Colonel Ashish Sharma ji to throw some light as to how do they manage these myriad of challenges. And they also have, I am sure, excellent academic institutions within their house. And how do they train them to meet these challenges in real time?
Sir, in our organization, we also get the raw talent from the society. So we are having a very staged way of increasing their technical know-how and the professional upgradations. Like when we enter, we have our academies where we are taught basics of our organizations. Then we get into our departments, various regiments, I would say. Then we have a young level professional courses. Then we have mid-level professional courses, higher level professional courses, and up to the highest level professional courses. If a officer is tomorrow becoming a director general or a general officer, he has to also go for a training curriculum of 1 year or so. That is how we are doing it. But when we see, because it's a government entity, we can afford it to spare our staff for that purpose. But that thing is certainly missing in the civil industry because because it comes with a cost. Though the big firms like Tata Projects, L&T, if I can name them, they have their internal training programs and all to keep their staff abreast and all. But everyone is not getting engaged with L&T and Tata Projects. They are the mid-time players also in the industry who cannot afford two aspects. One is the training cost, which they have to invest into the training professional. Second, leaving their manpower for a training course for like sparing them and give them a salary out of it. So these kind of issue in which this a guy who was just a BTech entered into in a firm, I would say a tier 2 firm, and if for getting himself upgraded, or herself upgraded, he or she has to leave the job for like a 2 years, go back to academy, and that comes with a cost to individual per se. If that individual is ready to pay that cost, if ready to able to take it because of his own personal requirements and life history, nobody knows about that. But as an organization, that organization is not helping him or her out. So that's why the gap which is there, and then what happens is, in our undergrad curriculum is a general curriculum. And if he or she does not go for a specialized curriculum like an MBA or an MTech, she never upgraded to a structured curriculum or specialized curriculum.
That's a good point you made, Lieutenant Colonel. I'll just come to that a little while from now. Sorry, forgive me, we have a brevity of time, therefore I need to quickly jump to the other topic. But I really like the idea that you, even if it's a major general or if it's a colonel, they have to go back to academics, or let us say the upskilling or the upgradation programs with respect to knowledge sharing and things like that. And that is what keeps your team abreast with the technology. And of course, your classrooms are like gurukuls where it happens on site. I'm sure. It's not way back in the classrooms and then you go. They do it on site. Perhaps like you make sand models and do that. That is where actually you drive home the point of hands-on training, and that's where we see one of the best, fantastic organizations called MES, who are always ready to take on anything and everything for the task that they are endowed. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share something which perhaps all of you don't know. And in fact, Lieutenant Colonel Ashish Sharma ji has been a part of Ops Sindoor. I request all of you to put your hands together as a token of gratitude. We don't want to miss this opportunity to thank our Indian Army, the entire Defense Forces, sir. With you representing, we would like you to convey our deep gratitude and thanks. We are doing this conference only because you are really played it safe for us, and our deep gratitude.
Thank you, sir.
So what I'd like to do is that we spoke of a very cultured organization such as MES, which has got ongoing upgradation programs as part of the DNA. But we also have other large organizations such as the Public Works Department and all. And we have the third panelist who comes from Karnataka State Highway Improvement Projects. He has handled large infrastructure development projects, and they too have a large army of engineers as well as supervisors, first mates right across the ranks. And I would like Dr. Kumar to just speak 4 or 5 sentences as to what is your expectation, because Dr. Murli spoke about the academia expectation on the industry. So what is the industry expectation on the, from the academia? Over to you.
So good morning, sir. Industry projects are ultimately about people rather than concrete, steel, and contracts. The most important lesson, what I have learned, is that the technical challenges are usually solvable, but the real challenges arise from communication gaps and the stakeholder expectations, delayed decisions, and inadequate risk management. So the skills that fresh engineers definitely they will not be having. So they should get when they are in the undergraduate level, they are not prepared to these challenges. So that from academic point of view, they have to instill these skills to take up the fresh challenges when they enter into the industry. They should get into these skills ready, because industry expects the fresh engineers to be ready for the industry, but they are not ready in reality. And that's what the training is required for them, to industry-oriented training to face these challenges and resolve the issues.
Dr. Kumar, you made a very pertinent point when you opened up, telling that perhaps communication is a very important skill. And I am sure when you speak of communications, one of the most important traits of a communication is that of empathy. And therefore, one has to be empathetical when you're playing the role in a particular contract, no matter on what side of the table you sit. Because if you want to foresee risk, it's not just the employer or the principal employer or the main contractor who can see all the risks in its entirety. It's the team which sees the risk. For example, if you have a HVS or ACMV contractor, the risk that he or she is able to see is the risk that which an MC will not be able to see. Likewise, if you have got an IT consultant, or for that matter, even if you have a PhD consultant or a HS consultant, the type of risk that he or she is able to see is the risk which the MC at an overall 30,000, 40,000, 10,000 feet view cannot see. Therefore, you very rightly mentioned that when we speak of communication, yes, communication has to be like a KISS, which stands for keep it simple and stupid, don't get ideas there. Therefore, it has to be as simple as that. And most importantly, you also touched upon the aspect of empathy. I think that is very important. And this is where exactly Dr. Murali was touching upon the point that there needs to be an active engagement of the academia and the industry for the simple reason that they start empathizing with the challenges of the industry and they fine-tune their academia curriculum and syllabus to be in touch with the realities of life. And that is where I think Dr. Murali also touched upon that the academicians should necessarily embark on demarcating 50% of their academician's life to real practice. In fact, many times I wonder, we have large educational campuses where at any point of time you go to any education campus, there'll be one construction or the other going on, sun towers, group of towers.
Absolutely.
But one nagging, because I was also on the board of studies of a certain university, and when I am invited to quite a large number of institutions in India and abroad, especially in India, I find when I drive into that, there's so many constructions happening. And when I asked the concerned civil engineering departments or the architecture department heads as to what is your role in there, they said that it is outsourced. In fact, I was surprised. I said, outsourced? It's like, a five-star hotel ordering food for its staff from some other restaurant. Why is that so? And it is a golden opportunity because it's your own house. And therefore, you should seize the opportunity. Yes, you will have challenges with your promoters, with your trustees. They say, aapko experience hai kya? And the answer to that is, as Dr. Murali said, collaborate with the industry. If you do not have experience, in your request for proposals that you float for the consultant, you inbuilt a clause telling that you also need to play perhaps a 5 to 10% part of a tutor to our in-house academicians who will be part of the team. So, Dr. Murali, do you think that's a good idea going forward, that we inbuild that into the RFP of the educational institutions to start with, or any other ideas you have?
So charity begins from home. So I think what you said is absolutely correct, and this has to be done because, as you said, at least in major campuses, like I was coming into Manipal also, there was 2-3 construction sites that are going on here. The live examples can be from the projects, from the campuses itself. And in fact, what we were going one step ahead, and what we were telling is that training students is one part. By those companies that are constructing, they can offer internships to the students within the project site itself. That's good. They should also engage the faculty. It's something like faculty internship. And so we also as faculty should spend time in that project. As a part of our assessment process, a question should be asked when we were up for our annual appraisal, saying that how much time did you spend on field? Right? So maybe if that is something is there, I think that can also help. I fully agree with your point, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Murali. One question to...
In this, I would like to add, sir, the way Professor Bolia told, the charity begins at home. The industry also should think the charity, they have to start with their own setup also. As a senior professional, it should be our onerous duty to train the professional who has come to us as our own. On-the-job training is the best training one can get and one can provide. And so as a senior professional or mid-level professional, it's our onerous task and duty to teach a young professional coming into our folds, like we have a kind of a responsibility towards our child, teaching and upgrading him or her. In the same way, when a young professional coming into industry, I'm not saying to send them for some training programs or something, but the on-the-job training as a senior professional, we should take it and we should teach them as and when it's there, as a kind of a responsibility, as a kind of a onerous duty.
Okay, let me ask you and Dr. Kumar, what are the 3 aspects from the techno-legal domain that you feel, just very quick short sentences, what are the 3 aspects you feel has to be inbuilt as a part of that awareness program or the training program so that our contracts do not face so much of ambiguities that we are seeing now?
Sir, first and foremost, the drafting skills, then commercial awareness, and some kind of a legal knowledge. I won't say legal because law is a very big subject. Construction related legal knowledge.
As an advocate, I would say substantial legal knowledge.
I
And when
would-
I say substantial,
Sir,
it doesn't
when-
mean to say you go to the entire
no,
gamut.
sir, we
At
are-
least your Indian Contract Act of 1872 latest amendments, your Arbitration Conciliation
Sir,
Act, that has to be part of the.
I would like to differ from you, sir. The contract law of 1872. You cannot deal the construction law as
No,
such.
let me correct you, because there I would like to stop you. We use that as a title. It doesn't mean to say it is from 1872.
Sir,
It
sir.
is updated and
No,
perhaps
no,
I've lost
I'm
count
not-
of the
I'm not
immense
talking about-
amendments that has gone
No,
into.
I'm not talking about the vintage point of view. I'm talking about the applicability point of view, sir.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. In every construction contract, you will have two clauses. First is section 55, time is of essence, and below that only you can extend the time. If your time is of essence, you cannot extend the time. My point is, because we are discussing about a young professional who is coming out of a technical college. So a minimum, not the substantive, but the minimum tinge of
Some idea. At least you should
should
have.
be there.
Absolutely.
At least which law book he has to open when he is coming and writing a
Fantastic,
letter.
fantastic. Very, very
That's the
pertinent.
point I'm just driving in. Sir.
Excellent. Dr. Kumar, your 2 sentences on that. What do you think
Yes,
are
sir.
the 2 or 3 bullet points? You say that this particular aspect of techno-legal has to be ingrained into the academic syllabus.
So mainly because the academics, what they are studying in the college, definitely that is only 30%. What they're experiencing in the field is different because they are bound by so much of the legal framework and procedural framework. That is not being exposed to the students when they are coming really entering the industry. That has to be given to them. That is what is makes them industry ready, because the framework in which they are working will not be known to them. They are only getting the basics of an engineering point of view they will learn, but the industry ready these procedures and framework in which they are working, they are not being exposed.
Okay,
So that
if
is
I
what-
can
that
interpret
is the
what
gap.
you're trying to say, at least the basic cardinal points of a contract, like we have got 5 basic cardinal points, very fundamental things. It should be with mutual consent, the objective has to be lawful and all those things. Those at least have to be ingrained into the minds, and it should be doable. So you cannot crash a project which the legacy of time says a project requires, say, about 120 days. You cannot crash a project to just about 90 days just because somebody at the top has taken a decision which is intangible. And this is where I think you need to be very clear of the fact whether it is doable. Whatever may be your contract clause, I can tell you as an advocate that if it is not reasonable, if it does not come into the principle of which can be done, then that will not stand. Come what may, whichever forum, it may be the arbitral forum or the litigations. So you need to be very clear. But then how do you defend your case telling that this cannot be done is through good documentation, as Dr. Kumar rightly said, on-time documentation, because the entire thing runs on evidences, right? And this is where I think documentation, communication, which is an important part, includes documentation. The students have to be taught that. And as I told you, it has to be simple and stupid that even a 6th standard student should be able to read through a contract document and understand what is required of a contract document. All these big jargons are okay, but if the big jargons have to be put, then you have to define. For example, you said, essence of time. Now you say essence of time and delay the payment. Now, is the essence of time maintainable? So it works always. So that is where it is. And with that, I think I'll just throw open the floor for 1 or 2 questions, because I've been getting the chief guest has arrived. And
Force
before we
majeure
need to
clause has
conclude-
been invoked, sir.
Yeah.
The force majeure
Yeah,
clause
force
has
majeure clause has been
been
invoked. I
invoked.
don't want to be penalized, but I think I will get a small extension of time so that we need to include the audience. I'm sorry that we have run out of time, but quickly, if you have, keep your questions limited to this topic, because right through the day, we'll be going on to the industry side and articulating. This is just about the bridge between the industry and the academia. So if you have any point, you can raise your hands, very quickly mention your name and the point that you want to maintain, and perhaps I'll open up to the panelists to answer that. Anybody, can I have a show of hands if there are any queries? Okay, good. There are no queries. That means to say that our panelists have been fabulous, and rather not just fabulous, fantabulous, because we don't speak of technicality or legality, it is techno-legality. And likewise, they have been fantabulous. We wish that we were given the entire day to articulate on this, because Lieutenant Colonel Ashish Sharma ji comes with a whole world of experience which we would not even be able to imagine without he, submitting that in front of us. And likewise, Dr. Murli has always been a hands-on practitioner. More, he is a hands-on practitioner, and he is also an academician. And as I know Dr. G.D. Kumar for quite a few decades, he continues to remain a very passionate student, and every time he is more inquisitive than what he delivers. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank Dr. Murli, Lieutenant Colonel Ashish Sharma ji, and Dr. Kumar for all your views. And in case you still have certain queries or would like to partake in the interactions with the panelists, please do continue to do so. You can continue to interact with the Manipal Law School, Dr. Venkat and his team, and they will be kind enough to forward your interactions to us, and we will stay in touch and connected. But let us all resolve at the end of the day that the collaboration between academia and the industry is not a choice, it is a must. Because industry realizes it does not have the bandwidth to do the deep dive, more so in today's situation of LLMs and artificial intelligence, wherein it is now the classroom is not for learning, classroom is for interaction, because the students already would have learned by the time they reach the classrooms, and classroom should be purely a point of articulation, debate, and landing at what's the optimal solution for a problem that has been put on the table for discussion. With this, I conclude and hand over the mic back to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you to our panel for setting such an analytical and candid tone for the day, making it abundantly clear that integrating industry realities into academic curriculum is an absolute necessity for economic progress. I now request Dr. Anuja to felicitate our guest. Advocate Girish HR, our moderator. Our first panelist, Dr. Murali Jagannathan, sir. Our second panelist, Lieutenant Colonel Ashish Sharma. Thank you, ma'am.